Hey guys, you're with Where Waters Meet, and we're doing another gear review today with Mr. Johnny and his banana hat.
Oh, hey, man. I'm the big banana. Top banana.
I'm going to call you the man of many bananas with the amount of bananas you have on there. But
The man, the myth, the banana.
the banana. Love it. But yeah, so we got another rod here, guys, that we're going to be reviewing. And this is a rod that I picked up because of a very specific need that I had. And I have other larger rods and 10 weight and stuff that's a standard single, hand kind of 10 weight rod. I got a Orvis Recon. But I got this because nothing was really serving the specific need that I had for pike fishing here in Maine on the Androscoggin and casting big flies. So this is the TFO BC Big Fly, and we'll give a little close up for you guys so that you can see this. And, I guess maybe before I get into the use of it and my impressions casting it, maybe we should just go over the components for people, so that they can kind of get the rundown on it. But when you get into like pike and muskie rods, like once you get to the 10 weight, the 11 weight, the 12 weight, they tend to be longer. And so instead of being kind of a standard 9-foot rod, they'll be like a 9'3" or 4 or 5 or 6, so to speak. And what they're doing with a lot of them is they extend these butts out. And I think what they're doing is they're building them on like a standard 9-foot blank. And when they extend this butt, it's 9'3", is 9'4", however long this, is. Yeah. But for me, with rods like that, I feel like, then they also give you these extended grips, which are very handy. But what ends up happening is the rod feels long when you have a really big fly on there. So I have a tendency to kind of move up like this. So that's one thing that's neat about this rod, in my opinion, is this is a true 9-foot rod, including the butt. So TFO has designed this blank specifically for this application. They aren't just using a blank and kind of creating a rod. So anyways, it's a full 9-foot rod, including the fighting butt. They give you this extended butt section, which is nice for fighting or having up against you. But if you get into any figure 8 moves around the boat, it's really nice because you can actually turn it this way and literally like figure 8 the rod like this.
Paddle.
Or you can use it. Yeah, it's like a paddle. I mean, it's nice that the shape of this butt is nice as well too, because like if you had an elongated butt, it would cut into your forearm, because kind of the way they design these grips is so that you can, put this right up against your forearm, so that when you come forward, you can kind of drive that and it kind of locks you in, especially when you have a big fly. And if it stuck out, that would be kind of uncomfortable. I really like the feel of this against my forearm. And they went with a synthetic cork.
What do they call this shape of grip?
I think it's called like a double, like full wells.
Okay, because I mean, like right there would be pretty much the end of the full wells.
Right.
Like right there. Then you have this added,
like small wells.
Yeah.
Mini wells.
You have this added like 2.5 inches or 2 inches.
And I like this. Like this feels good in my hand up here. But what's cool is if you do want to be down here, you can.
Okay. I mean, would you cast from, I have not played around with this rod.
Yeah.
Would you cast from this position and fish from this position?
No.
No, you cast from
I
here.
cast at the top. Yeah.
But I guess you could do it however you feel comfortable.
You could. Yeah. And I mean, this has been the fall that I've had this and fished with it, possibly in the spring when I'm fishing much smaller flies for pike. Maybe I'll be down here because I don't have that added weight. I'll be fishing lighter floating lines, not as heavy of sink tips and stuff like that with big streamer flies. But like this fall,
for me, I'd want to be further down on the heavier stuff and further up on the light.
It feels lighter though. So like what ends up happening is it's like, picture having a bunch of weight at the tip of this rod and think of if you were holding it here, just to exaggerate that. A lot of weight.
Yeah.
And like what's crazy is having a grip here or here makes a big difference in the feel of that rod.
I'd have to try it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the shorter versions of these Helios rods that people are using and you're a fan of. This is kind of like that where you can choke up. But what's neat is that with this grip, you can choose whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is cool. So, but yeah, and it's just got an aluminum reel seat. You know, I think that the game changer on here is kind of a cool added touch. Doesn't do anything for you, but I think it's kind of neat.
Is it real alignment or is it off to the side?
It's off to the side. Okay. And they do give you 2 spots to put flies tucked up in the reel seat on both sides, which is yep, that's nice. And they have an alignment arrow though on the ring for your reel seat, which is nice. So like, you know, instead of like rounding it around
on the ring, but nothing on the top.
No, it's just kind of visual because it has an inset in the reel seat.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's the BC Big Fly because of Blaine Chocolate, which he was kind of, you know, the guy that they paired up with. You know, he's a pro staff with TFO, and I think that his input and what they've done with this rod is really great. But to move forward, yeah, there's no hook keep. So your hook keeps are, like we were saying, they're kind of on the side. And you have 2. So whether you fish this left-handed or right-handed, however you do it, they've given you 2, which is kind of nice. A lot of
I really like that. And I wish that would become an industry standard.
Yeah.
I really like those.
I do too, because it's such a pain in the butt. Like, I mean, what do you do otherwise? I mean, I end up...
like we all do. We go around our reel and to our first. And
I hate going to my reel if I have a small leader. So I end up I go to my first guide or the Hydros reels that I use a lot. I end up just putting the streamer kind of in the back support of the arbor, you know. Yeah. But anyways, but yeah. So moving forward though, this isn't like it's you know, you look at this online and it's not necessarily like, oh wow, it's a gorgeous rod. You know what I mean? Because it's just flat black with gloss black epoxy. They kept the wraps really simple. They're just black thread wraps. There's a little bit of silver kind of at the bottom. But the thing that impressed me the most about this, and for the money too, is the components. And these have the REC, you know, rec recoil guides, you know, stripping guides, your first 3. And then you continue on, and they don't have like the cheap chrome plated snake guides, and they're oversized, which is like really, really important. What a lot of pike and muskie guys run into for issues is they're fishing big tungsten sinking heads, and those heads get
big first one.
The big tip top on this, which you guys will be able to see. And you know, like I run a swivel to my flies, and we just took the reel off this, and in a big swivel went through all these snake guides. And the components are good. They're going to hold up, which is a big deal because you can get a 10-foot, I mean, you can get say a 9-foot, you know, 10 weight, and it's just got like cheap chrome small guides, and you're going to have a lot of issues with big, thick, you know, sinking heads that are going through them. And the problem with pike and muskie fishing is you end up bringing your fly like all the way up so that your leader has gone up in the rod even, you know what I mean? Because you come up and say that you have a fish that chases and you want to figure 8 at the boat. So you might only have 2 feet of line sticking out the end. So it's hard on your components because there's bite wire going in and out, and you got, you know, your tungsten lines, and they have a tendency to wear out the chrome snake guides to the point where they just break because they actually wear through. So kudos to TFO. I think they did a really good job on the components on this rod. And, you know, like I said, it's not fancy, but having a knowledge of what I need it for and what they built it for, I think it's a very purpose-driven build, and I think it's pretty impressive.
What's the action on it? Medium, fast?
It's fast.
It's fast. Okay.
It's fast. And I think they might actually consider it. We don't have Bentley here with a computer. They might.
I was just thinking that.
I know we're handicapped here, but I think they might actually consider it extra fast.
Okay.
But it does pick up good. And I think what they did with this rod, there's a video that Blaine has out about it, and they kept kind of the midsection of the rod a little softer. So like when you get into the butt, it's got good fighting power.
Okay, it's a real stiff butt section.
Yeah, you got good fighting power, but the mid has a little bit of softness, but the tip is real fast action. So you can kind of drive, but yet you can still pick up heavy stuff with it.
And the tip is probably, I mean, I'm not a huge musky guy, but from the figure 8 and the action that you want to impart on your fly, you're going to want the stiffness, because if you're doing something really close down to the boat or the water, you don't want a noodle or your rods.
Yeah.
You just won't be able to do that action.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I got this, because we've pike fished with 8 weights, and you definitely feel that way. You if you try to figure eight with an 8 weight, just the resistance of the fly in the water, like John said, it's like, you just kind of got a noodle.
Yeah.
But it's good for hook sets. I mean, not that you should be trout setting pike or muskie. You should be strip setting them, but it's always good to have some good backbone, and kind of the purpose of this is to be able to throw 10-inch flies or 12-inch flies if you wanted to, and still have a lot of fighting power, because you don't really want to fight. If you hook a pike or a muskie that's 40 or 50 inches, it's not something where you want to fight that fish for a long period of time, because you're just going to lose it. So you kind of muscle them up.
All right. Who should buy this rod?
So there is a number of striper guys that are using this now.
Okay.
So like that's an option. I think that I probably can get back to you guys next year. I'd like to try it in the surf and see how it goes. I think it would actually be a really good rod for that application.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it has all the right things, especially early spring around here, or early summer when we're casting big herring flies and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a purpose driven tool. They make this in different weights. They make it in an 8, a 10, and a 12. And the way that they do them is the 10 kind of has a grain weight that they give to it, where this can cover an 11 weight line to maybe a heavy 9 weight line, depending on how you want. I've been casting it with 10 weight lines that are more purpose driven for pike and muskie, and I like it. And I've had no problem, I've had no problem with the bank shot, which is not necessarily a pike muskie line specifically, but I got a 10 weight bank shot. I've been using that.
It's a big fly line.
It's a big fly line. Yep. 100%. And then I got a pike muskie, an SA, pike muskie line in a 10 weight. And that's not quite as aggressive of a taper as the bank shot, but this rod worked very well with both of them. And I had no issue casting, 8 to 10-inch flies, 60 to 80 feet if I needed to. It's tiring, because it's a big rod.
It's a big rod.
But what
I think you find that I don't think you're going to find 10 weight and above anything that you're like, oh, I want to cast this
exactly.
all day.
I went 8 hours, and 100%. But what I would say is, if you keep it under 60 feet, maybe that 30 to 60 range, I think you can cast this all day.
Yeah.
Which is,
and Rich's, that's where you should be casting anyway.
Yeah, it is. But you know how it is. You get out there and you're like, oh man,
gotta get that extra 20.
Got to get that. Yeah. I got to cast past the point where I could actually effectively hook a fish.
Yeah.
Your catch rates go down once you get up there, especially trying to put a big pike fly into a fish. But I'm we'll get back to you guys like after we do some other experimenting with this, like maybe like I said, striper fishing. But my impressions this fall of it, component wise, has been top notch, and function and casting wise, I'm a big fan of it. And I've cast other 10 weights and Thomas and Thomas's what is it, their exo set pike and muskie rod that they got and stuff, and like this casts a lot nicer than your standard 9-foot 10 weight rod for the application with big flies, like we said. And I would put it up against other pike and muskie rods. I think it does just great. And my biggest thing that I would say is I think it has the best butt section out there as far as being comfortable on your forearm if you're casting big flies and kind of bracing it.
Do you know the retail off the top of your head?
I think it's $650.
Okay, so this is one of TFO's more expensive rods.
It is, yeah.
Probably the most expensive.
Yeah, it's up there. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's, something else that I didn't mention this, but another reason why I probably really like this rod and it clicks with me is like, probably one of my favorite all-time rods I've ever had. And I've had it forever and I still use it in service is the older Axiom 2. And I streamer fish with that with sinking lines. That's pretty much my exclusive go-to trout rod. And I don't even know how many years I've had it now. But long story short, TFO uses Kevlar in their Axiom blanks.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody else is really doing that. They kind of got poo-pooed a lot by the lightweight crowd of everybody like, oh, I can't cast that TFO blank. That's 1.8 ounces heavier, you know what I mean? And but what I'll say is I think that it just lends itself very well to streamer fishing with big flies with sinking lines, because I haven't really found a rod that you can bend as deep in the blank and it rebounds that well and maintains accuracy, and it just is enjoyable to fish with like a heavy line. I'm a big fan of it, and they use the Axiom blank technology, and this is not, you know, labeled an Axiom, but this does have Kevlar in the blank like their Axiom lines of rods. So that's something to note. But yeah, I give it 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, cool. And I have got 0 time on this rod, so I haven't even seen you cast it.
Yeah.
You got it before, I mean, after I went out with you the last time, so.
Yeah, but you'll have to be part of our upgraded discussion about it. We'll get out and cast it.
Yeah, and like, I don't know, maybe this one will turn me around. I was struggling. I think we were casting some pretty large stuff on 8 weights, and it's not my cup of tea. I downsized my fly, and you know, I like the lighter stuff, a little easier. And downsize a close fly, it is still like a 6-inch fly.
Yeah.
But I wasn't throwing like. You're being generous when you say your flies are like 8 inches. They're big.
Yeah.
I mean, they're pushing a foot. So, you know.
Well, and I think like even if I went out for a day, I might downsize at a point during the day.
Yeah.
And that's why like my pike trips that I ran this fall and guiding, I don't just keep just 10 weights in the boat. I keep 8s because you have clients show up and maybe an 8 is that's kind of their max range of like their ability. Yeah. But also you might have somebody that they're just fine throwing this for like 2 hours. And then you're like, let's
podcast stuff. We should stick to the review of this rod. This is what happens with us.
Yeah.
We get started.
So maybe I need to get some 8 weights of this too though.
Yeah. And try it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
then you can kind of vary throughout the day.
I dig the vibe. I dig the matte black. I'm kind of into black rods.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll say about the black rods is it's weird. Even if it's an expensive high-end rod, I'm like, I don't feel bad about abusing it. Like if it's too pretty, I get like, I don't want to scratch it or anything like that. This is like, it looks like a workhorse.
It's a workhorse.
That's what I like about the black rods.
Yeah. And I think the finish will hold up good. So
yeah, I mean, it's TFO. They make good stuff. Their service is good, and I'm sure it'll be a great rod.
Yeah. So we're back to 2 thumbs up, and I'm not going to start talking again. All right. Awesome. Thanks, guys.